Okay, if I get your attention, please, we'll begin the meeting, we'll all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we come humbly before you again to thank you for the opportunity to represent our beautiful town, and we ask that every decision be made according to your perfect will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Okay, I want to thank you for coming out. Board, thank you all for attending the meeting tonight. We got just a few things we'll go over, and then we'll just get out of here just as quick as we can. At this time, we'll have the reading of the minutes by the city recorder.
The Saltillo Board of Aldermen met March 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall for the regular monthly meeting. The meeting was called to order by Mayor Lowry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation was given by Alderman Reeves. In attendance were Mayor Lowry and Alderman Billings, Maynard, Morgan, Reeves, and Wood. The minutes were read with a motion to approve from Alderman Reeves. Second motion by Alderman Morgan. The minutes were approved as read. The mayor and board were provided with a copy of the expense and revenue report for February 2022. Old business number 1, siren grant. The siren grant has been approved for 2 new sirens. Completion of the contract. The city match funds are $16,800. The poles and boxes are in place and no engineering fees will be charged. Mayor Lowry will update the board at a later date. Number 2, fire truck. Chief Young will follow up on repairs. Number 3, community center repairs. A majority of the repairs have been completed. New business number 1, street lighting. Alderman Wood turned in a list of needed lights. Lexington Electric is currently transitioning to LED bulbs, which may cause a delay on new installations. River Day. The Tennessee River Barbecue Battle will be held in conjunction with River Day at the River Landing. The event will host 45 to 50 cookers. The coordinators of the event have indicated they will sign with Saltillo to host this annual event. There will be no cost to the city for the event. Number 3, Heritage Festival Committee. The committee will meet on Saturday, March 5th at 10 a.m. The festival will be held April 8th through 10th at the community park. Number 4, ARPA funds. Cities may use funds for additional general services. A scope of the change was released November of 2021. Number 5, pursuit vehicle. The pursuit vehicle was purchased in February, which is a 2018 model SUV. Number 6, street signs. Mayor Lowry will contact Mayor Davis of Hardin County for assistance. An update will be given during the April meeting. Number 7, parks. There have been some vandalism at the parks. A general discussion occurred regarding closing Lincoln and community parks at 10 p.m. Further discussion is needed. Number 8, shooting firearms in the city limits. Saltillo will adhere to state statute. Number 9, Half Moon Lake. Representatives of Half Moon Lake have contacted Mayor Lowry for repairs. Lewis Cobb is reviewing the request. Number 10, street repairs. A prioritized list will be compiled for repairs within the next few months. Number 11, neglected properties. Alderman Wood has spoken with Roger Phillips about doing this job. However, the fire chief is responsible for following through for court dates, documentation, etc. Mayor Lowry advised that Chief Young is a deputy chief fire marshal who has construction type experience needed to complete the evaluations of said properties. Mayor Lowry also advised that additional discussion is needed. Number 12, doctor's office. Ms. Shaw and the physicians have inspected the property and are wanting to go ahead. They are currently waiting on the lease for the building. Mayor Lowry will provide an update during the April meeting. Number 13, budget. The budget is due July 1. Some issues to consider are salary adjustments and property tax. Mayor Lowry conducted a salary survey among the 8 employees. A proposed salary increase of $14,460.40 per year has been requested. Number 14, animals in the city limits. Currently, Saltillo has an ordinance from 1952 regulating hogs and hog pens in the city limits. Specified in the ordinance is that pens must be 100 feet from a highway and residence. Any changes will require an amended ordinance. Number 15, flooding on Willis property. This matter has been referred to City Attorney Lewis Cobb. Number 16, surveillance upgrades. A motion by Alderman Maynard to hire Roger Gant to upgrade 3 separate cameras at park, walking track, bathrooms, and concession stand. A second motion by Alderman Wood. No discussion. The motion passed with all members voting yes. Number 17, ARPA funding. A motion was made by Alderman Wood with a second motion by Alderman Reeves to suspend the meeting and reconvene on Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. The meeting reconvened on Tuesday, March 15th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. Present were Alderman Wood, Reeves, Morgan, Maynard, and Billings. Mayor Lowry called the meeting to order, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. An invocation was given by Alderman Reeves. Preliminary spending includes police and maintenance vehicles, $40,000. Siren upgrades, $16,800. Computer upgrades, $3,500. Community center repairs, $16,000. General loss of revenue, $83,331.84. Alderman Billings presented a donation of $2,000 from Core Civic. The lease for the doctor's office was distributed to the Board of Aldermen for review. With no additional business to discuss, a motion was made by Alderman Reeves and seconded by Alderman Maynard to adjourn the meeting. The motion carried and the meeting was adjourned by Mayor Lowry.
You've heard the reading of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as read?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Reeves, discussion. Okay, one thing on 15, I don't know if I misstated it or if it was, but on flooding on Willis property, the matter has been referred to City Attorney Lewis Cobb. I felt that the letter we received was a complaint, I think he stated that he was gonna get his attorney, so I did not submit that to Lewis Cobb. What I did was gave the Alderman a copy of it, and then we'll just wait to see what happens after that. If so, if we need to present it to the city attorney, we will, or his attorney could attack the city attorney, but this was not referred to him. We just reviewed it, took it as a complaint, and left it at that.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other discussion? If not, Alderman Billings,
Approved.
Morgan,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Reeves, and Wood. All right, the minutes have been approved as read. So what we'll do, we're gonna go ahead and continue. A lot of what we discussed a lot in the last meeting, and most of that is probably part of our new agenda with the exception of 2 things. We have the dilapidation of abandoned property. I have not talked with Mr. Phillips. Actually, I talked with Fire Chief Young. He's working on this diligently, and we have sent out 2 letters already. Matt, yours is being sent out on the property next to your place, and I asked the fire chief to go ahead and put that ahead because you're here at the meeting every time to issue a complaint, so I think that represents, and what we're doing is we're doing it in sections anyway, so we're gonna be doing a section at a time, so we've got 3 on the books now that we should be hearing from by the end of the month. So just as soon as we get in touch with them, if not, then we'll take the next step. But I hope that by June, we should have those properties, the 2 properties that we're working on now, yours and another 2 properties at North Hill. We'll have those in perspective to where we can move forward with the court on those. Okay.
Thank you.
So okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with old business, commute into new business. And another thing to the board before I forget, we do have, we're gonna have to have a quick 5-minute beer boards meeting after the meeting because we'll have to address the beer license issue to the Little Red Shed. Okay, so real quickly, and I'm gonna try to go through this pretty quick so we don't have to stay here no longer than necessary. The Siren grant, we signed the contract for the Siren grant Thursday, I believe it was. So it's been submitted back to Southwest Development District. We're waiting for them for the next stage. So that's already been forwarded. Also, I think we had to pass a resolution. We did have some monies that we might be able to get back on state, profit sharing. And, if we get that money back, it's gonna be what, $6,100 is
$66.18.
$6,618, that's yearly, that we'll recoup. But now, they haven't voted on it in the legislature, but we're gonna have to pass a resolution for that. So if the board, you should have a copy of this resolution. And you probably, if you're keeping up with politics, you probably saw it on TV or stuff where the state's gonna give that money back to smaller towns. Now, we don't know if that's gonna happen yet, but we did have to pass a resolution. So if y'all want to read that resolution, and I'll come back to it for passage toward the end of the meeting, that'll be fine. Okay, so, moving right along, the fire truck, we've got another mechanic working on the fire truck. We hope to, it's not relevant to fire protection. It's just the extra truck we got, but the carburetor's on it, so we're in the process of getting that, repaired. And the community center repairs, a majority of the repairs have been completed. Greg, you wanna comment on that?
Well, I guess I probably ought to, because in the old business, it says a lot of repairs have been made, and then on page 2, it talks a little bit about some additional costs for repairs. So the repairs that have been made are repairs that we discussed leading up to our event that's going on. So some playground equipment, some things, in and out, minor stuff. It's not total everything. So we've done quite a bit of upkeep to playground, park, community center, but there is a lot left to do in the gym and auditorium and around. So just noted as that we've done a lot of work. If you hadn't been up to the park lately, looked around and see what's going on, you should be able to visibly see some things that have actually happened. So we appreciate everyone's participation.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Billings, and I must say too that, in the past, it's one of been our areas to where we didn't have nobody overseeing, and it was really under the mayor's visibility to do what I could with it, but Greg has done tremendously with the park, so, and, Greg, I hope you continue working, whatever we need to do, regardless, we need to do it, if it's costly, we need to do it in moderation, but we need it to be fixed and to where everything is working. Okay, on street lighting, Alderman Woods is handling the street lighting. I think you had an outage this week you had to call in on.
Can I ask you something, it's the same one that we've had before?
It's the same thing.
Same
yeah.
thing every time?
Mhm. So, usually when they go out from the Mexican restaurant to Willis Street and then down Willis Street, those are the same street lights, so. But, those don't want to really have problems out of. Okay, the River Day and the Barbecue Festival, just real quick, we're still ongoing with that. We're gonna have to get the, electricity down there, so we'll target that at another date, so it's not real close, so we won't even discuss that right now. I think we'll just move it forward. The Heritage Festival, everybody know the Heritage Festival is this weekend. And Mike Fields, I must say, he's been up there every day this week, but I've been by there, and I think we've got everything in perspective. I talked with him today, and I think all of his stuff's in order. I know all ours is in order, so we're just waiting for the weekend, and let's just pray that it turn out real good, and we'll have a successful day for the city. Okay, so, and the pursuit vehicle, we know we purchased that. Okay, on the ARPA funds, we did submit the documents that was necessary to qualify for the $156,000 that we're supposed to get. We got 79,000 of it. We should, according to the papers we got, we should hear from that by the end of April, if it's approved on what we applied for to spend the money. And we didn't have to itemize it. I know we said 16,000 go for sirens. We bought the pursuit vehicle. All we had to do was do the exemption, but we did have to give them an idea of an itinerary spending plan. So we did that. We submitted it to the state. Now we're waiting for them to relate back to us. What we did was run ahead and budgeted the whole $156,000 rather than having to do two different budgets. So we'll know at the end of the month just how we stand with that. Okay, I know I'm talking a little fast, so I don't want you to stay here too long, but if you have any, does the board have any questions on what we just went over? from the parks to the lights, fire truck, River Day Heritage Festival. Okay, we're gonna move on. Okay, the street signs, the county makes the street signs, so, they're still willing to make street signs for us for what we did, but, we'll have to get the name of our streets and all of that and then submit them to the county mayor's office and see about getting those made up. So, that'll be another project that we'll be doing. Okay, now on some of these projects, I'm hoping that it's 6 of us. So I'm hoping that, I know we all know what we're doing, and we know what each other's doing. So, I think we need to balance the load if we are not, some of the things that we do as aldermen are community related and some of them are necessary. So the things that I'm concerned with is the necessary ones. We can work on fundraisers, I can work on fundraisers. I don't really consider that a part of the government that you was elected for. That's what I'm gonna say. I think that you was elected to make sure that the city maintained and financially and growed in a manner, so even if we work on fundraisers, it still don't mean that we don't need to take the necessary steps as aldermen to work on the important things that relate to the city. And I think street signs is one of them. I know we all got a little bit of load, but I'm not gonna ask anybody to work on that, anybody that wants to help
Would you
follow.
like for me to get us a map and, either start on it or delegate if somebody wants to help, or,
I'll
you know.
volunteer to do that,
yeah,
or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Since I don't have the load you do.
the what?
I said, since I didn't have as big a job as she
Oh.
does, you can let me know, you think about it or
No,
whatever.
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 As far as the city streets is concerned, whatever this office, my office can do to assist now, we know all the streets pretty much. We just need to write them down and,
right, and, yes, I'll be glad to do that. How's that? And I'll have some assistance from the
Oh.
board.
okay,
Is that okay?
okay.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. Wood, she's gonna do that, so thank you for offering, but with Ms. Maynard, anyway, that's not a real, Karen, I can assist you with some of that, a lot of the streets, and I've got some maps here too,
Okay, that's
that
fine.
I'll have to find next week to show the city streets,
That's
okay?
cool.
All right, now, parks, of course, Greg is over the parks, and we did talk about a 10 PM curfew at the park, at Lincoln Park and at the city park, but now, I don't think we have to get into that right now. I'm checking a couple of things that I think that we can look at later. I personally do think unless it's an event, that we should consider closing the park behind the school and North Hill Park. Because after 10 o'clock at night, I don't know why anybody would have reason to be back there playing in the park or et cetera. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go up there and walk if you're a late night walker, but the thing about it is when we say we close them at 10, that means that we're gonna be monitoring the cameras up there. And we've got 7 cameras up there, and it shows every aspect of the park, all around the school and everything. And so if the chief of police or see somebody up there late at night, then we got calls because it's closed. Okay, all right, but we'll go back to the parks a little later on and put an X on that too. And, okay, shooting firearms in the city limits, we're not gonna even, we're gonna leave that with the state. I think that, I know if we was in New York and you heard a gun go off, you probably need to run for cover. But in the country, I think that we need to accept that we're country people, you're gonna hear shooting. And if a person's got a hunting license, if they shooting a squirrel in the yard, I don't think we've really had but maybe 1 or 2 issues in the 14 years or 13 years I've been as mayor to where it has been a problem, maybe 1 or 2 times, and I think that's regrettable for that amount of years. So I think we're just gonna leave that with the state right now unless it gets out of hand. Okay, but now here's the thing about it is, if somebody I understand that some of us live in proximity, I know on Shady Lane, that's where they really complain about gun shooting. And Stephen, I went by there and talked to one young man, he was real polite, said he wouldn't do it no more. And Stephen went by and talked to the other gentleman that Roger Phillips had stated about shooting in the city limits, and he was real respectable. So I think that was the only two problems we really had, with the exception of one issue a year or two ago at Half Moon Lake that landed in the city. So I think that even though we're going by state, if you do feel it's a threat or something, you can still call us, and the chief will go by there and inquire anyway, you know, see what the deal is. Make sure that people are not shooting reckless, should I say. Okay, board, do you have any discussion on anything? I'm trying to talk fast and because we've got a lot on the board here, but, okay, on the Half Moon Lake, I did talk with, Mr. Lay on Half Moon Lake, in which, our city attorney is handling that issue for us. What we found out was that Half Moon Lake was annexed in 1996, and they developed it in, I believe, 2001. But when they annexed it, there was no road, it was just backland is basically what it was. And evidently, I think on both parts, maybe the city, I think they had talked to the prior mayor, and he said they wasn't in the city limits, although documents show that he did annex them in the city limits, but he might have forgot that Southwest Development might have filled the papers out for him, and they wasn't aware of what all they did annex. But anyway, it was annexed in 96, and they developed it in 2001. I don't think followed the procedure. They said they had talked to them, and they wasn't, but the assessor of property could have easily told them that they was in the city limits. I mean, there's other avenues that you can approach to find out if you're a developer, to make sure that you are complying within. And even though the city didn't have zoning, they still would have to file a subdivision plat with the city and adopt the county road standards. One main issue about that down there is the road. They want us to take the road, and according to the city's ordinances, all roads developed in the city limit must meet the county road plan, and we're not sure that happened. And actually, another issue is that they deeded the road to the county. So, you know, we're not gonna go in and start graveling no county road, you know. They would have to do something about that deed, even if we had to. Okay, so has anybody got any, but the city attorney's still on that. I haven't heard nothing from him on that, and so we're just gonna wait a few more days on that. Okay, street repairs. Okay, I'm still talking with the contractor Savannah about patching our streets, and that's definitely on the list. I want the public to know that fixing the potholes, I know it's some on River Circle, there's some down by the landing on that area, and then here by Church of Christ needs some attention. Down by the Methodist Church needs some attention. So that is on the agenda of the board, to make sure that just as soon as we can to try to get those repaired. I think we're in a financial position that we can do that now, so we're gonna be working on that. Okay, on the neglected properties, like I say, the fire chief has sent out a couple of certified letters to homeowners on neglected property. We got one we're fixing to send out, and he's already got the pictures next to you, Max, at the meeting every time. So we want to make sure and that property hadn't been attended to in the last 30 years, I would say, but it's at dark end. So Mac, we're working on that at the next city meeting. If you're here or not, then you probably could look at the video, but we will address that. We should have those letters sent out and some response.
So, clarify this for me. Have the letters been sent out?
2 letters have been sent out.
2 have been sent out already.
That's correct.
And which states that they have, after they receive the letter, what does it state? They have so many days to get their, or weeks to get their property up to standard?
They have so many days to reply to the letter.
I think it's 30 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to reply to say, yeah, I know I don't know.
Well, they can give you a timeline.
Well,
when they'll
it's not a process. I mean, when you start talking about people's property, whether it's abandoned or not, it's a process you have to go through. First, we're gonna send them, we need to send them a letter, and we send them a copy of the ordinance as well as pictures of the property to let them know that they're in violation of the city ordinance, and that they got 7 or 30 days to respond. and then they'll respond back. If they don't, then we'll send them another certified letter that they're gonna be cited in the court, city court, and the judge, and I think in our ordinance, we have the capability of fining them $50 per day. Okay.
So at the time that they actually go to the judge is when they'll start finding them, is that right? I mean, I'm just trying to, I don't really
understand.
know
Yeah, no
what
problem.
it is, what the
That's the only way you're gonna know is you
Yeah.
gotta ask.
procedure.
But the thing about it is, the judge is the one that have to sentence them to $50 a day. We can't. Now, he might not do that once we take it to him, you see.
Yeah.
But, we'll have the
Is
chief
there,
of,
is there a process written out that, how that works? So I'm taking notes, but is
Yes.
there I'd like to, I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'd like to have a copy of the process that follows in the time frame. Just
Okay.
so we know, in
Well,
case
what we
somebody
did-
asks us.
Yeah, well, we adopted Savannah's, and I think we do
Yeah.
got that time frame, so, at the next meeting, I'll try to have that for you. Let me get this, All right. Okay, now, we're gonna move right along. On the doctor's office, those people I just don't know, they did call me and they asked about the lease. We do have the lease ready, but we needed more information from them on the lease as to, the name of the office, just the legal name of the office and who's in charge and who's responsible for the building, et cetera. And, I did that, I think, 3 weeks ago, and I haven't heard back from them, okay? So, I mean, I don't know if they're having problems with their, getting their doctors certified or what they're doing, but, I've called them and, I'm not the type, if they want the doctor's office, they'll call us back. If not, then they probably move somewhere else, I don't know. But I did call them and tell them what we needed, and she said, okay, I'll get it to you. But as of yet, I have not got it. But the doctor's office is ready for habitation, and the lease is ready whenever they're ready.
Did they do any work yet? They were gonna do some work, I thought you said, like the baseboard or something, I don't know what.
No, they were supposed to patch some holes and painting, but we did the baseboards.
But so you don't know if they've painted or anything?
Well, I hadn't been in there, but, I expected to hear from them, basically, if they'd been in there, surely Teresa would've seen them since she lived next door. I don't think they've been there, so.
Well, one day I did see someone in there as I was driving by, but they were just up at the front. I didn't see them doing anything.
Okay. All right, so, is there any other discussion on what we went by? Okay, on 13, budget, okay, the budget is due July, so starting next month, we're gonna start working on the budget. First thing we'll probably need to do is amend the budget. Benita, I think we've got track of the monies that we've received. And what we have to amend the budget for is monies that we received during the year that we didn't budget for. And usually it's monies that you don't know you're gonna get or that you've applied for and got later in the year. So, we'll be amending the budget, and at the end of the month, I'll have a list of the, monies that we received that we will amend. So at the end of this month, 1st of May, I think, we'll amend the budget, and then we'll start the, budget process. Now, during that process, I want you to be aware that we can alter the tax rate if the board see fit, okay? So you have to do that during the budget. Okay, whether you lower it or raise it, you have to do it during the budget. Second, I gave you guys an employee salary sheet that, we need to consider on employees. I hope you all been working on that. So we'll need some idea at the end of this month as to where we're gonna go on that. Because what I like to do is, I don't know what you guys gonna prescribe, but I did give you guys a list of what the people that's working in these positions ask for versus the salary they're receiving at this point. And, so if you can give me an idea of how you're trending at the end of the month, then we can negotiate with these people if they wanna quit, or if they wanna find another job somewhere, or if they wanna work for the rate that you applied, or if you wanna, give them the salary that they request. But we need to know by the end of the month. So the end of this month, I would like, feedback on that. Okay, all right, so we're moving right along, and don't forget, we're gonna start the budget, okay? Animals in the city limits, we do got an ordinance about hogs and stuff, and then it did come to the attention that perhaps, right in the city limits, if we had to restrict certain animals, maybe it would be an animal per acre. And then that way you don't get 10 horses on 1 acre that's causing problem, or 10 cows on 1 acre, or goats or whatever. I think we had the problem on Shady Lane here where I think the guy had 5 or 6 goats and 2 or 3 cows and chickens and pigs all on just about a half acre to a half acre of land. And it was causing problems with the residents, but we couldn't do nothing about it. So you might wanna consider that. But like I say, it's just for consideration. You might wanna consider that, and then we can move forward on that in the future. Okay, I'm gonna put eggs on that too. All right, then we discussed the flooding on Willow Street. Okay, surveillance upgrades, like I say, at the school, we only had 3 cameras, we had 2 cameras. One you could rotate from side to side to get the side parking lot, and that. Now we've got 7 cameras that shows the whole park. And anything that going up right now, we couldn't see the backside of the concession stand where they kept breaking the window out. We couldn't see where the ship is at the back of the gym, but now we can see everything. I mean, there's nothing that's undisclosed up there at the park now, and it's installed and ready to go. So, and that's gonna be a good thing for this, what we're having up here, the festival. Okay, so I'm getting close to the end. Is there anything that you guys wanna discuss that I went over?
Well, I've got one new item I wanna share.
Okay, let's go over this and then keep that in thought. When we get to the end, we'll go over the new item, okay? ARPA funding, a motion was made by Wood, the second by we suspend the meet, okay, that's something different there, okay. So, now we've got itemized down to where we spent $83,000, what we're proposing $83,331 on the ARPA money, but it's $154,000 in total, okay? So that's just a little bit. And Greg, thank you so much for the speaking with your employer, Core Civic, and the 2,000 they contributed to the Heritage Art Festival. Greg brought that check at the last meeting, so that was a good thing. Okay, now, one other thing, I don't have a copy of that letter on the water. Did you give me a copy of that, or you give me the original back?
No,
Here, you
I've got
have
it.
mine.
I've got the original.
Same.
Okay. The reason I'm giving this to the board, not that we have any input, but I received a letter from a citizen that it was addressed to the Saltillo City Council that he had applied for water in the city limits of Saltillo, but they wasn't issuing no more water meters in the city. And now, if he had paid $900 a year ago for a water meter, they never installed it. And now he went to a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they said if you want to get a tap, it's $1,700. But they didn't have any more water, that they was full, and that he couldn't provide water to Saltillo. And he was concerned that it would affect people moving to Saltillo, that they was pumping water 12 miles out of town, but people right next to the water department couldn't get water. We can't do anything about that. There's a utility district. And, but this letter was addressed to the city council, so I did give the city council a copy of the letter because it was addressed to the city council. Had it been addressed at Mayor Lowry, I'd have just, handled it a different way, but I just want you aware of the letters that we get and what's gonna happen. So now, what I will do though, is I'll forward this to the county mayor. The county mayor is over the utility district, and he just addressed it to the wrong board. He addressed it to the city board. It needs to go to the county mayor. Okay, so, okay, are there any questions pertaining to that? Okay, so, let me see, okay. Also, Greg, you said you needed a stove at the school, and, Steve Turner he said he had a stove that he would donate to the city if you wanted it, save you from having to buy a stove.
Working when I got it.
This, Sounds good.
Plug it in and see, it ought to be working.
We'd be glad to accept it if we need to do him a letter or something for the donation. I don't know
No, I
what
don't
we
need
need
to
to do.
Well, we need to, I guess I'll talk to the maintenance man, see if they can pick it up and bring it down there, so. Steve, thank you kindly, and, the first of the week, there'll be, you know, we got this festival this week, but the first of the week, we'll make sure they get out there and get it. I'll call you ahead of time, I'll let you know. Okay, so, okay, I did get a letter from the election office. It stated that they are having a Republican primary election on May the 3rd, and they would like to use our, safe shelter. That's where we usually have the election. So does the board have any objection for the Hardin County Election Commission using the safe shelter for the election? Okay, it says, now May, that's another thing, why, I think I gave you a copy on her, Ray. She keeps the safe shelter, not only does she do the senior citizen, she keeps the safe shelter clean. When people leave, they leave a mess, and she cleans it up, but also she handles the voting, make sure it's open for the voting machine, receives the voting machine. May, they're supposed to bring the voting machines, the day before the election.
But no Democrat works in it.
Oh, it don't?
I got a letter.
Oh, you did? Okay, okay, okay. Y'all Democrats be cheating. Okay, all right. So,
We got auditors down here.
okay, now, again, to the board, I think you all got, we needed to get, definitions of the work that the employees do. So what we've got here, I think you all got a copy, you gave them all a copy of. Okay, all of you got a copy of, the duties of, the police, the city recorder, fire chief, all paid employees, right?
Hey, John.
And you can take that with you.
But, man, I will see that everything they need to be over there.
Okay,
You know, like the table stuff.
right, right,
Set it up.
okay.
Will they hire somebody locally to oversee it, like you oversee the main election? Will they hire, will they send some?
They'll have to, they'll use their people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
There's a pot in it.
Okay,
There's a group of people that pick that up.
Mhm.
okay, so it's gonna be May the 3rd, is that right? Okay, and it's Republican primary only. Okay, all right, so now let's go back right quick to the resolution for, to file for the $6,600 that we're asking. I mean, if the legislation do pass, it'd be resolution number 2022-01. And this resolution is, a resolution to support restoring the historic revenue sharing relationship between the state of Tennessee and its local government, and to return the local share of the single article cap to local government. Okay, so that's just adding more money to our coffers. So do we have a motion to, accept resolution 2022-01?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Billings, second.
I second.
Second, Alderman Wood. Okay, discussion? Yeah, have you read it? You got any discussion on it? If not,
I've read it, and I'm glad to see more money coming back to the local.
good. Yeah, me too. Okay, so if there's no discussion, then Alderman Billings vote,
Yes?
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes,
Alderman Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Alderman Wood.
yes.
Okay, resolution number 2022-01 is passed with unanimous vote. Don't forget now, let me see, let's real quick, let me give you real quick the fire report. In January, they had 4 calls, 2 structure fires, 1 lift assists, and 1 secure for the helicopter, LZ for the helicopter. In February, they had 1 call, a structure fire, and they was, mutual aid with Hardin County. And in, March, we've had 7 calls. They've got 2, 4, 5 medical calls, 1 fire call, false call, a brush and grass call. So those are the fire department calls for the month of January, February, and March.
And we responded to all of those.
Yes, yes. Yeah, 7 calls in March, 1 call in February, 4 calls in January. Okay, now we're gonna go to the, budget funding and a report as far as the tax collection. I believe, I think that the most we could collect was 61,000. And my understanding at this point, the city has collected 55,000. Is that right, Anita? So most of the people have paid their taxes and I assure you, that's the part of electing officials and that you can have a rapport with to make sure that when you do pay taxes and when you do donate or incur money to your city, that it goes to the right place.
At
Okay.
least I wasn't the last one, was I?
No, you wasn't by far, by far. Okay.
Will the ones that haven't paid that, I mean, I was looking at the Lexington paper and had a big ad in the paper where they'd sent out whatever.
We
Do
haven't.
we have to do that or the
Well,
the
since
county?
ours is still new, I'm still getting, stuff in from mortgage companies. I still haven't received tax relief, it's all been approved, but we haven't received the money. So it's kind of a waiting game right now. I don't think we should even charge a late fee for this year, since it's new. I think if we are gonna charge one, start it in October, when the next tax season starts. And if they haven't paid it by October 1st, then assess a late fee. But for right now, since it is still so new and this mortgage companies are driving me nuts. So they're back and forth. And they only do 1 call per person at a time. And I'm sure most of what I've got sitting there is that.
Of what's left?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
Okay. The thing about it is, I think that puts the town on a more, I know people don't like it, but I say again that, you know, we was losing our ground as far as river tourism. I mean, and so now we're in a position to where I think the town, regardless of circumstances, we have a permanent source of revenue. The town is not in any debt. Our assets is about 22 million. And, so we've come up, it was 8,000,000, maybe 500,000 when we took it in 2008. Now it's raised up to that much. So, I think that we're in a pretty good position to maintain the integrity of our town, to make sure it stays viable and that we as citizens can, have our own community, our own space, should I say. Okay, with
Can I
proof,
say
we
something
better,
though?
yes.
Our state check is about $2,000 less a month. I went back and looked at 5 years, and right now it's running about $2,000 less. Beer is in half. Beer was always, $1,800, $2,000. It's less than $1,000.
They're buying it elsewhere, bringing it in.
Yeah, but I mean, you can see it's everywhere.
Well, this is not even summertime though. That's a lot.
Yeah, but
It's
We
a
don't
lot.
have that much
I
traffic.
talked to a beer man the other day, he says, he says, through the roof.
I know, but it's not like it's July and
yeah, but
for
you
it
know,
to be that much less, that seems like a lot.
It is a lot, and I don't know what's changed, but something's changed.
Maybe
well, they
people
said
put that-
$30 a case in Saltillo and $24 a case
That's it.
everywhere.
Probably.
Well,
Yeah.
Dollar store's killing us.
That goes down, and
Oh.
these people down here need to be playing the game and reducing it and enticing people to buy, which would help us.
Well, the thing about it
You
is,
can't make it.
that's why I say the need was that we have a permanent source of revenue, and you can't go by the, like I say, beer taxes usually $38,000-$40,000 a year. This year it's gonna be quite a bit shorter. State revenue, profit sharing is gonna be shorter, and I think they're talking about not charging tax on food again for, you're trying to pass that, so.
Well, our beer tax is almost half of what we budgeted right now, because we've only gotten in 17,580, and we budget 30,000.
You got 17 in so far?
But, still all in all.
17,000, that's all we've gotten in.
Yeah, but all in all, we're in good shape. We're in the green. We're not in no bad shape at all, so, I'm just glad that we did what you had to do. But like I say, again, now, when we do the budget, we have you know what you're up against, board. You got the option to review and lower. That's why I tell you said we got 55,000 in.
Mhm.
I think what you might need to do is a little homework to where you can make an appropriate decision as far as the tax money, if you wanna lower it or not, is to review, what we're gonna spend it on and what the cost is for the city. At the next meeting, I'll try to have you an actual cost of what it takes for us to run our town monthly or yearly. And then that way it kinda help you evaluate as to if that money is still needed, or if you can relax some on it, or if you wanna add some to it, it's gonna be up to the board. So, okay, are there any discussions? Right now, general fund, 144,000, fire, 3,563, parks, 7,096, River Day, 4,742, street aid, 41,000, and ARPA fund, 79,000, total fund balance, $280,636.66. Okay, so, remember the ARPA funds is, grant funds, the street funds is up, River Day, we hadn't put the check ain't on this, is it on there what Greg gave us the other night?
It should be, yeah.
Is it? Okay,
It would,
okay,
Because there's 4,000, we've gotten $4,500 in this month.
okay.
2,500 of it was,
Grant from the county.
and the other 2,000 came from
yeah.
Greg.
And, okay, are there any questions so far? We're getting ready to end the meeting now, so I think we went through quite a bit in an ample amount of time. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. If you don't mind, I'm gonna stand on, I can't see everybody down the line. This kind of relates to taxes. No decision required tonight, but the next meeting I would like for us to discuss it because I am gonna present a motion on this, but 2007 session of the 105th General Assembly enacted a Property Tax Freeze Act. Of course, the Mayor just mentioned about lower tax and whatnot, but you never know. Things, this board, another board, or in the future may choose to raise taxes. But anyway, the Property Tax Freeze Act, which establishes the tax freeze and authorizes the legislative body and the county and municipalities to adopt a property tax freeze program. The act became effective July 1st, 2007. So in short, what this is, it's really a tax freeze act, and I'll share this with you if y'all can make some copies and pass it out to the board tonight or later. But for those that are 65 and older and also meet a certain income standard, that it would freeze the property tax. In other words, that base tax that you are charged, as long as you apply through this Property Tax Freeze Act, your taxes will not go up if you're 65 and meet the condition within this act. Hardin County and City of Saltillo is one of the cities and counties that do not participate in this act. Other cities and counties across the state have already adopted this in their county and city. Coffee, Crockett, Decatur, a lot of Haywood County, you know that, Henry County, they've adopted this. There's a lot of cities and counties that are already part of this. And in our next meeting, I would like us to review this at your leisure, and maybe next meeting, I would plan to make a motion that we adopt this Property Tax Freeze Act to help our senior citizens, those in that lower level of income. So, any questions about that? It's all here.
Greg, who told you that Hardin County wasn't participating?
It's on this paper right here.
I asked them the other day, and I paid my taxes, about the senior citizen and all, and they told me point blank that if you were over a certain amount of income.
Yeah, you are correct. I am corrected. Hardin County is part of this, yeah, I am correct. Yeah.
Because I didn't fall under.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was looking at some other counties, but Saltillo is not listed in that. Hardin County is. The Property Tax Freeze Act to be adopted.
ain't that what we?
I appreciate you correcting me.
Well, we have tax relief.
Well, this is
Yeah, they
completely
just have to
different
apply
from
for
tax
it.
relief. The
Okay,
Property Tax Freeze Act has to do with freezing the base rate tax that is established,
does it have a time frame on that?
as long as they apply each year.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Like they do with tax relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
very similar to tax relief.
Yeah, because
as
they
far
have to
as-
provide proof
Yeah,
of income and all that.
But on tax relief, if property tax goes up, they still are charged that much on the relief. the property tax freeze is, locks them in at a base rate.
Okay.
But again, I'm correct, appreciate Mr. Turner,
No problem.
that Hardin County is part of that, city of Saltillo is not.
Okay.
I have one question. What about the, River Poker Run? Have you talked to, Stuart Grooms?
I have not.
I think we need to get a start on that, or, you know, if Stuart wants to do it, fine, if not, fine.
I will ask you.
We're in April.
Yeah, it's not to July though, ain't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Stuart, huh?
Planning's what I think it was.
Well, I'll ask him in that case, I mean, if he don't, Stuart, usually he's got all the paperwork and
Yeah.
stuff and usually it don't take as much planning for that poker run to do a lot of other stuff, but I will call Stuart and ask him if he's gonna do it for us. Last I heard he was gonna do it for us, so I'll
I'd be
call
welcome
him.
to do it, but just let me know, since I'm over all that down there.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, let me put this down to call. My mind is bad. I brought mail down there this afternoon and come back this evening and couldn't find it. I thought I left it at home. It was already here. Call Stuart. Okay, all right. Is there anything else that I need to be refreshed on, or is there anything the board would like to discuss before we adjourn? Nothing?
May I,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
may I,
Oh,
just to let you know, Evan and I will be glad to help you on your tractor stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you to look at that for us.
You know that, and if, you need extra stuff when I'm able to do it, as far as equipment, bigger equipment stuff, we'll work something out. The city's willing.
Okay.
Can't do it for nothing, but you know what I'm saying. I got a little bit bigger equipment, might be able to do stuff.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna let you look at that, we talked about that before, so, okay, let me make sure that everything I've got here is in perspective, okay? Now, remember, we're gonna have a short beer board meeting real quick after this meeting, so Benita, did you have anything that I missed or we need to go before we adjourn?
You got it all.
Okay,
Max, one more quick question.
Okay.
You mentioned something about potholes.
yeah,
Who do we report that to?
City Hall, yeah.
Okay.
Where you live at down there?
Yeah, I heard you rattle off a bunch of streets, but there's one on Dorothy End that's getting bad.
Okay.
Right in the bend, and it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Okay,
So if you don't mind, add that
I
one to
will.
the list.
I will.
If we can
Dorothy
catch that county truck down here, ain't nothing says that they might not give us enough to just go down there and do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then, but if we do it ourselves, do like I did behind them, cause it just keeps coming out. I took my tractor and I packed her down and the hole has not come back out.
Yeah, that's
Okay, all right, so if there's, don't forget, Boyd,
we should.
the next city meeting, we're gonna go over that, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion, Alderman Woods, second,
I second.
second one, Alderman Reeves, motion, meeting adjourned. Okay, now, real quick, meeting of South Saltillo Beer Board is now open for business. And, we've got one agenda on the beer board, and that is the Little Red Shed. I believe all of you had a copy of the beer, sheet, right, that's the rules and regulations. So, actually, it was a video going around that I had several calls of, that, hey, you got a beer joint, and they showed, the karaoke up at the Little Red Shed. So, the thing about it is I told Omi and I met with him that, and he did open this weekend under the same Little Red Shed, okay? But now, we're gonna need to issue him, we're gonna need to rescind his beer license because the city cannot issue a on-premises beer license to a sports bar. Under our ordinance and under the beer regulation, city of Saltillo, the only way we can issue a on-premises consumption of beer is, it has to be a restaurant. And it has to advertise as a restaurant. It has to act appropriate as a restaurant. I mean, I think you all got, so I told Omi that, you know, that, we would issue him another license and it would have Little Red Shed Restaurant. It wouldn't have Little Red Shed. What we issued was Sports Bar and Grill. And where we made the mistake is when we issued a sports bar, on premises license. So we can't do that. it has to be a restaurant, and then it has to be operated as a restaurant. So I have a new beer permit right here. We're not gonna charge him a new fee, but, we need to make a motion to rescind the beer permit, to void the beer permit that was issued to Little Red Sheds. Let me make sure I'm right here.
That beer license in his name?
No.
It's in
Big long, yeah.
Ramshibi P. Patel. RAMESH BHAIE or something.
Don't, is that that's not Omi then? I thought in your beer permit information,
Yes.
the owner has to come and sign the, application.
Yeah, I do believe that the person who is applying for the license has to sign it. not
I did.
The person that's
It
running.
has to, I
He
think
signed
it
the
has to.
application there.
It's right here. Yes, I brought what they gave us last month.
I think it has to be the person that,
Who is applying for the license, not the
but it
person
has to
who's
be
running it.
does it
That's
have to
it
be
right
in,
there.
what'd you say?
Just what he says, the man that's applying for it.
Hey, Omi. Okay, so we're having a beer board meeting right now. Now, this ain't you on this driver license that I mean, who is this say what?
He's my dad.
But your dad is the one that has to apply for the license. You can't apply for him.
I mean, he signed the papers and all that. That's what I. 6, 4.
So you like the manager?
Like he needs to come and submit it. That's what you're saying.
Well, we're discussing that right now. From what it says, the owner has to, and if you're gonna be the manager, he has to submit you as the manager.
Yeah.
I never met your dad. I don't know. I mean, I know you brought his driver license and you brought the paperwork, but I have never met him. So board, how do y'all wanna just go ahead and reissue to Little Red Shed and let him, come in and refill out the paperwork? Or how you wanna do it?
I mean, I can bring him tomorrow if you want me to, because I'm going to Nashville to pick him up right now.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that would be good. I think he's supposed to be in person. isn't he?
Yeah, but do y'all wanna re-meet again, or you gonna issue this beer license tonight?
Well, how you gonna, you
We
don't
can
have an
issue it
application
tonight.
with the correct signature.
And have him sign it tomorrow?
Well, he said his daddy signed it. His daddy, he just brought the paperwork to us, is what he did.
What?
But now his daddy wasn't here in person, so.
But this,
Well, I think-
this permit wasn't filled out correctly on our part. So it would have, that's void, I would think, and you would have to have a new one, so you gotta have the person, like Benita, or like somebody saying,
Okay, so,
I think he would have to come and sign it.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with the board doing a reissue for the same person that signed it before. He doesn't have to be present in front of this body, I don't think. We can approve his name, but he had to be in presence of the mayor to officially sign it. We've already issued it once to the same person.
hey, Omi. Okay, so what we
Do
gonna,
you need anything else?
okay, I'll call you back, man. But we're gonna need your dad to come and sign the papers though.
Yeah, I mean, but he can't come today. He's coming back
That's
from
right.
India right now.
Yeah, tomorrow be fine. Well, I'm not sure, if Benita's gonna be here to have the paperwork ready. I've got a copy of the application though, so he can just sign it. Okay, Omi, you need to get with me tomorrow.
Okay, I can bring him tomorrow and,
Yeah, bring him about 5:30 in the morning, okay?
huh?
Bring him about 5. No,
I
but,
mean, he'll be there 5:30 in the morning.
no.
I
But
don't know.
let's say,
He'll be back by
hey,
1 o'clock tonight. So,
okay, I mean, I gotta work tomorrow, so it'll have to be probably about 3 o'clock tomorrow evening.
3 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
Like, when is the best day? Like, because he's gonna be at work too. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
When is the best day he can come down over here?
Well, what I'm gonna do is get the board approval, and you won't have a license now until he come in. Okay, I'll have the license here signed by the board, but, tonight, we're gonna revoke the beer license you got. And we're gonna have a new license for you here, signed by the board, and when he come in and fill the paperwork out, then I'll issue you that new license.
Okay.
If he don't get here tomorrow, if he don't get here to the next day, you still don't got a license till he come in and redo the paperwork though.
Okay, so like I can try to make him come down over here by 3 o'clock.
Well, he don't have to come tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I mean, you just call me and we'll try to make arrangements, but like I say, your license will be revoked until you come and get the new one.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was trying to.
So they can
That's what
help
I'm
you
trying to
Thursday.
figure it out. Like how I get like new one. Like.
Well, you ain't open tomorrow no way, are you?
Down over here.
He said he's
What
working.
time? Because he works at Stanford Dollar Saver.
Well, Thursday or Friday one, you know, I could meet with him too, either day. I mean, we got this festival going on, so I'll be in town. But, you might wanna do it for the weekend for your opening. Now, remember now that, you know, we're giving you a restaurant license.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure it out how I can bring him down over here. So.
Well, let's not hold the meeting up. Just call me when you figure it out and I'll meet with you.
Yeah.
Okay, all
All
right.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so if the board would approve this, license, then I'll just keep it here at City Hall until he fill the paperwork out. Once he fill it out, then he can pick up this new license. Okay, but, like I say, now the police gonna be stopping in there and people gonna be checking on him because it's got to be operated as a restaurant, not as a bar. Okay, all right, now, do we have a motion to approve the new license for the Red Shed Restaurant?
Started down at the other end.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Reed, second.
I second.
Second by Alderman Morgan. Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yeah.
Alderman Reed,
Yes.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
As long as it's done in front of you. I think
Amen.
the man that has the beer license, and that, whoever's name's on that beer license, I don't care who they are. There's certain things that our beer board y'all gave us last month said has to be done.
Well, now, if you wanna revoke his license
I don't wanna revoke his license, I mean, he's
Yeah, but
doing,
we got to because we issued an illegal
No,
license.
she meant,
I
she
just-
didn't want him to just sign it and drop it off. She wanted him to make sure by the paperwork you gave us that the person getting the license signs it in front of you. That's all.
Well, I thought that's what the agreement was.
Yeah, she just
Yeah,
making
yeah.
sure of that.
But I think too,
I didn't get a motion to rescind.
Omi and his
There's not
father,
a motion to
being his
rescind.
father is the owner, needs to understand what these rules are. And they need to read it if we're going to, and if we made error on our part by issuing a license under I say another pretense because we just made a mistake in what we were doing, is one thing, but they need to know just as much as the beer board does of what the expectations are. We wanna encourage business in our community, and we want them to be legitimate, and we want them to be successful, but I think they need to play by the appropriate set of rules, and, hopefully it'll be a positive thing for our community instead of something that people complain about, those kind of things.
Well, now, I mean, the board might not be aware, but I met with only last week, not only myself, but I had the chief of police here with me. And we stressed to him that, he had to operate under those rules on that paper, and that evidently he didn't read them, but now he needs to read them because with the on-premises license to a restaurant, it had 2 clauses under there that he has to abide by specifically. And, so I told him I don't think he read it before, but he need to read it now, because if it's a violation and his beer license get revoked, of course, he said just like everybody else, he's discriminated against.
well, I'm gonna say this, and I know we're on film, but I'm gonna say this. We eat out a lot on the weekends. I just don't cook on the weekends. We always go to the Mexican restaurant. We go down there, they have outstanding food down there at the Little Red Shed. They have good burgers, wings. We've enjoyed going down there to eat for a change from that, so I've enjoyed it. I want it to be open. I want it to be staying here. By all means.
May I, Don?
Okay, oh, just a minute, okay, anybody else on the board got any comments, discussion?
My comment would be, I think on that information that y'all gave us, that, signing that permit says I have read and understand the rules that apply.
That's true.
So if he says he didn't know the rules, maybe it's because his daddy signed the paper, but whoever signs the paper says I have read and understand whatever, you know.
Well, I think the biggest mistake we made was issuing a sports bar and grill the license. So, you know, with that, he was operating as a sports bar.
Listen, your liability with being wrong can come back on y'all. You gotta think about that.
See, so, us passing that, and now we voted to revoke the Little Red Shed sports bar license and issue him a restaurant license.
And you have to have a motion for that.
Yes.
Yes. I don't have the motion to rescind it.
Okay, we made a motion to issue this license for the restaurant. Do we have a motion to revoke the license that we issued before?
I make
To
a
the
motion
look,
that we,
to,
Or rescind,
yes.
is that a better word or
Rescind.
revoke?
Revoke.
Rescind?
well, same thing.
I've got rescind / revoke.
Okay, so do we have a motion to rescind the Little Red Shed Sports Bar and Grill license?
I'll make a motion.
A motion made by Alderman Maynard, to have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Reed, Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes, sir.
Wood.
Yes.
Okay, so now we voted to revoke, rescind the beer license that we issued before because it was illegal according to the rules that we was supposed to abide by. So now we voted to issue him a new license on the restaurant. And I'm gonna, now, here's the thing about it is, I know all of y'all are really concerned, especially Ms. Maynard. I don't appreciate you asking questions and understand, but I want y'all to understand too that I am really concerned with the city of Saltillo, and I wanna make sure that we dot all the i's and cross all the t's too. So, I mean, I'm gonna make sure that the city of Saltillo is kept viable and free of lawsuits and growing and prosperous in any demeanor that I can, by any means necessary. So, whenever I deal with this tomorrow, now, if any of you want to attend when I meet with him, no, you can't, because we violate the sunshine law. So, the thing about it is,
I can be here if you need me here. I can be here if you need me here.
okay. So we just need, I always like to have a witness, because people will say you said this and you didn't say this, and
Yeah.
that's why I had the chief of police with me last time, because.
Anybody can be a witness, so.
Right, but anyway, I'll make sure that, I know the technicalities, and like I say, I met with Omi, and he needs to read that, because, once you, I read it now that we got into detail, and it's written pretty good, so.
Right.
Mayor, if I can mention it, and it's not an excuse, that this is kinda new to us as far as
Right.
issuing a permit. We haven't done one, and I think this board, not me certainly, but this board in a long time. So I think it's, something to make it right, and going forward, anyone else that may apply that will, kinda know where we're.
Right. And then, of course, he did say about the, the Mexican restaurant, but I want the board to know that the Mexican restaurant don't only have a beer license, they have a state mixed drink license. So they can go a little farther than Omi can, but I did tell him that I don't think, now, according to what I understand, is it's not a good idea to go in and just have people sitting around the bar drinking beer without food. But anyway, we're gonna follow the procedures. We'll do the 4 months, I think it's 3 months, where they have to send the 51% rule in, and then once a year, they have to send it by a certified accountant in. So what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna steady read that more, because, I have to read things 4 or 5 times sometimes, but I do got the principle of it, but I'll make sure that when they come in and sign it with his daddy. And Vanita, do you need to notarize it anyway, don't you?
I can?
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll make sure that, I stress to him again that he needs to read that thoroughly because if it's any more mishap, like the little girl in there where they serving beer, she's about 8-year-old in the film, and another young man about 14 in the film, and people just dancing and hollering and raising that, and that's a bad atmosphere. We don't want that in the town for sure. And I told him that this was a Bible Belt, and the people of this town, they not gonna have a bar. Actually, when we done the annexation, to keep from saying they was discriminated against, we had to annex an area to where they could put them. And I think they're out there by Don Robinson, or on 104 out that way. You know, we did have to give them some land, you see, to where they could put a bookstore or put bars and stuff
But they
like
couldn't do
that.
it inside the city limits, I thought.
Say what?
It was where you couldn't do it inside the city limits, I thought. Are you
Well-
saying it could be in the city limit?
Yeah, but we put them way out on
Yeah, but
69.
it's morality clause or
Oh,
something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they
I
had to be
can,
in the city
I
limits.
remember it.
But we
Yeah.
put them way out there, huh?
Something to do with population too on that
Right,
stuff.
and unless them Don them sell their cornfield, you know, they probably won't be able to put one out there, so. Okay,
Let's hope not.
all right, is there any other questions? If not, we're gonna adjourn the beer board meeting, and I'll take care of this. And, but anytime you got board, anytime you, and I wanna commend y'all, the board, you got a hard task. I mean, you guys we've excelled to the point now to where we have a lot of opposition, a lot of people just don't, but I think each one of you really tried to make the best decision for Saltillo, whether you're from Saltillo or not, but, I'm from Saltillo and I hear more than you guys do about what I'm supposed to do because I am from Saltillo. So, but I just don't tell everything people tell me and what I hear and what I read, and I don't put nothing on Facebook, so, I'll
We
just
might
let.
not all be from here, but we all got here as quick as we could, so there you go.
Okay. I heard that, I like that. I like it, we got here quick as we could.
Now, we need a T-shirt with that.
We do, that's a good Saltillo t-shirt.
All right, do we have a motion? Oh, Steve, did you have something, or you done say what you gonna say? You had-
No, I'll say rest of
Okay.
it here after that.
And, okay, and nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Motion by Alderman, Morgan to adjourn, beer board meeting is adjourned.